Did the NHL fumble the viewership bag already? Welcome back, motherfuckers, to the Pucked Up Podcast. As ever, I am your host for this week's show, and I am joined by the gorgeous Danger Water, the scintillating Finjiff, and the ever-faithful Gosmal.
I'm sorry,
know.
that was it's a look on his face.
I don't know.
Amazing.
Should I feel more dirty about being called scintillating or Finjiff?
I never call you by your handle, but everybody else gets called by their handle, so I was like, fuck it,
Right.
commit.
Yeah, I'm the only one with. To be fair, I'm the only one just with my name on screen.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the rest of us?
No,
It's-
D is D
Yeah,
on screen.
Well, that's fair.
the nickname.
But that's also because my username is dbag, so
Right.
fucking.
I do have a question though. Can Chris be scintillating if he's not flashy because he's no longer bald?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You guys, I hope you enjoyed
parts of
seeing
him can be
Gosmal on
shiny.
screen. This is his last ever episode of Pucked Up. It's been
I
great,
think
Johnny.
Chris
We hardly
might
knew
murder
ye.
Maul.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just asking
Like
for
that.
a friend because
If
I don't
Gosmal
see a
goes
flash or
missing, it
sparkle of
100% is
light.
Chris.
So
Fuck you
Do you
and
not
your
see the sparkles
sparkle of
behind
light.
him? They're on the window. There's all kinds of
The Tic
sparkles
Tacs.
happening.
Oh, you're talking about Chris.
Whatever, ma'am. I'm gonna keep eating my Skittles gummies, and we're just gonna go.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry, I had to Google that.
on that note, welcome back, y'all. We are in playoffs, which usually means that there's less news, but right now we actually kind of have a pretty full episode. So
Yeah.
what do you say we just go ahead and jump right in? First of all, we're going to start with the 3 stars in the PWHL because they're still doing that, which I love to see, honestly. So as presented by Shark Beauty Canada, because they present everything in Canada, unfortunately. Where's America? Show up, stand up. Anyway, they have for the week of, sorry, that's what I was going to say. For the week of April 28th to May 4th, they have announced their 3 stars. The 3rd star is Marie-Philippe Poulin, a forward for the Montreal Victoire. In Saturday's 3-2 win at New York, Poulin scored twice, including one 11 seconds into the game, the fastest goal from the start of a game in PWHL history, to raise her season's total to 19 and clinch the league's goal-scoring title. Poulin also finished the league with 5 multi-goal games and 6 game-winning goals. She scored 29 career PWHL goals, 6 more than anyone else in league history, with 10 of her goals scored against New York, the most by any player against any opponent. Previously, the record of fastest goal from the start was held by Minnesota's Grace Zumwinkle, who scored 21 seconds into the game against the Sirens. Poulin's 5th appearance of the season on the 3 Stars of the Week, presented by Shark Beauty Canada, also gave her 100 points in the award standings, matching the total Toronto's Natalie Spooner amassed in winning the title last season. Moving into our 2nd star of the week, we have Lee Stecklin, a defensive player for Minnesota Frost. After scoring just twice in her first 62 career games, including playoffs, Stecklin scored on all 3 of her shots across Minnesota's pair of pivotal road games last week. Wednesday in Ottawa.
In a what?
I think I had a stroke. In Ottawa?
In a what?
Not even a
Ottawa?
fucking word. Not even 2
Ottawa?
words. I don't know what happened.
I just
Wednesday in Ottawa,
Yes.
There you
Stecklin
go.
scored a pair of third-period goals, the latter into an empty net, to blow open a tight game and assure Minnesota's essential victory. The tallies made the Roseville, Minnesota native the 3rd U.S.-born defender to have multi-goal game this season. She joined 2 Boston Fleet defenders, Sydney Morin from Minnetonka, Minnesota, who scored twice, and then Michigan native Megan Keller, who scored twice against New York. Stecklin collected her 3rd goal of the week Saturday in Boston and boosted her season's point total to 3 goals, 6 assists in 30 games, just ahead of the 2 goals, 6 assists she registered in 24 games last season. The 1st star is Nicole Hensley, the goalie for the Minnesota Frost. On it, Hensley came through when her team needed it most, stopping 53 of 54 shots across 2 must-win games to help Minnesota collect consecutive 3-point victories and earn the right to defend its Walter Cup championship. On Wednesday against the Ottawa Charge, Hensley recorded her first shutout of the season, a 3-0 win that made her the 2nd PWHL player to record a shutout at 30 or older. Hensley was 30 years, 311 days old on the date of her shutout. Hensley followed the shutout with 29 saves Saturday in Boston, helping the Frost to the 8-1 victory that clinched a spot in the playoffs. The victory was her 7th of the season, matching her total for last season in 3 fewer games. Hensley finished the regular season with a 2.53 goals against average and a .900 save percentage. So with that, let's give you some totals. The standings are as such. Hillary Knight is in 3rd place with 70 points, Laura Stacey in 2nd with 80 points, and Marie-Philippe Poulin is in 1st with 100 points.
Shocker.
And from there, we're going to mention Marie-Philippe Poulin a little bit again later in our shorts episode. So if you are on YouTube or TikTok, be sure to check that out because we have more information about Poulin's a mass of winning records and trophies and awards and all of that. So check that out. But because we mentioned that Minnesota won a couple of pivotal games, we can now announce what those pivotal games were, and they were to go towards the playoffs that are starting now. They're playing literally Wednesday, May 7th is the start date for the playoffs. So it will be a best of 5 semifinal fight between the Montreal Victoire and the Ottawa Charge, and the Toronto Scepters against the Minnesota Frost. So those are 2 very exciting battles. Obviously, whoever does the best there goes on to the finals, or the Walter Cup finals, as we call them. So if you have access to YouTube, you can start watching all of these hockey games right now for free. Wednesday, May 7th, which as of time of recording will already be in the past. And Thursday, May 8th will be the first 2 games for either team. Friday, May 9th will be game 2 of Minnesota at Toronto. They'll be at Coca-Cola Coliseum, and that game starts at 7 p.m. Let's make sure that we watch their shit on YouTube and blow up their numbers, because viewership is important. That's how they get sponsorships. That's how they get deals and everything. So let's support the PWHL as they trek towards their cup championship. Again, it's best of 5, so you have to win 3 games. And that'll still be tough for some of these people to do. We could see a series of all Game 5 wins, and we could see a sweep. Who knows? That's the beauty of playoff hockey, right?
Yeah.
For some of us.
And speaking of supporting the PWHL, Jocks and Jill's podcast, hit us up. Let's do a collab. We
Hell
love
yeah.
the ladies of the PWHL.
Yeah.
Let's fucking hang out.
Absolutely. That would be fun. A crossover, if you will.
That would be a blast.
Yeah. Contact
be
our
a
reps, which is us.
We'll have,
at our Gmail
I'd say
address.
we'll have our people
And-
call your people. We'll make it happen.
Our people is me, probably.
It's just us.
Probably just going to be us.
Yeah.
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 So, not hard to contact.
No.
For sure.
Pretty easy to contact.
Yeah. All right. So we'll keep you all updated with the PWHL playoffs. Obviously, that'll be the next big topic for a couple weeks with them. But let's keep you up to date with some of our NHL topics currently, because boy howdy, have we had some awards
Boy,
nominees
howdy.
mentioned the last couple of weeks. So we'll just jump right in. The Ted Lindsay Award nominees were announced, their finalists, I should say. And that consists of, well, first of all, hold up. Let me back it up a little bit. The Ted Lindsay Award is an award given annually to the most outstanding player in the NHL, as voted by fellow members of the NHL Players Association. So they answer a poll, and then the top scoring people are the finalists, basically. So those people this year are Nikita Kucherov, Nathan MacKinnon, and Cale Makar. Kucherov led the NHL in scoring for the 2nd straight season with 121 points in 78 games. He is 31 years old, and he topped the league in power play points and tied for 3rd in game-winning goals. He also is plus 22 and had at least 1 point in 65 games this season, to go along with 33 multi-point games with 17 three-point games as well. This is the 3rd time that Kuch has led the NHL in scoring, and he's also a 3-time Ted Lindsay Award finalist. There could be a correlation. We don't know. Nathan MacKinnon finished 2nd in NHL with 116 points for the Colorado Avalanche, as we all know. He tied Kuch for lead with assists with 84. His 78 even strength points ranked 2nd behind David Pastrnak, and his 38 power play points trailed only Kucherov. The 29-year-old led the NHL with 320 shots on goal and 32 multi-point games, including 3 5-point games Crazy. And he became the 12th player to have at least 110 points in 3 straight seasons. He is a 4-time Ted Lindsay finalist and won it last season. He began the season with a 13-game point streak and helped the Avs finish 3rd in the Central. And lastly, Cale Makar, led defenseman in goals with 30 assists and points and was 9th overall in league scoring. He's plus 28 and led the position in power play goals and points and tied for first with 54 even strength points. He became the first defenseman to score at least 30 goals in a season since Mike Green with the Washington Capitals. And is the 5th defenseman to have at least 30 goals and 60 assists in a season. This is a first-time finalist in Cale Makar, and he had 27 multi-point games, including 8 with at least 3 points. He will be the 2nd defenseman to win the award and first since Bobby Orr did it in 1974-75 season. Crazy.
I mean,
So shout out to
have
our 10 Lindsay finalists.
You have to remind yourself that Cale Makar is a defenseman. Like, when he's posting all these unreal offensive numbers, you have to remember he is a defenseman, which is
defenseman.
Yeah.
It's so, like, there are plenty of offensive oriented defensemen in the NHL, but no one puts up the numbers like Cale does. It's unbelievable.
It really is. He is an attacker in a defensive person's like clone suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he takes
Like, if we
offensive
unzipped
defensemen.
him, I think we would see an offensive player.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
or we just see like organs and stuff. Definitely one or the other.
Yeah, let's not unzip him. Or do whatever floats your boat.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
For science.
It would be interesting,
try
that's
it
for
out.
sure.
Yeah. Fucking try it, see what happens. Actually, no, don't. Please don't take that advice. I don't
No,
want to
no,
be named in
no.
a fucking lawsuit.
No.
I
No.
really
No.
keep my name out your mouth. Please, please, please.
When
was
they
not on
fucking
advice
said
from
it,
me.
yeah, if we told you to
That
jump off a
was
bridge, would you
me.
fucking do it?
How high is the bridge?
I've jumped off a few bridges, so I shouldn't be asked that question.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Fuck.
The
I'm just being
disappointment.
honest. Look, there's a lot of bridges over water. It's the most
you
common
know,
place
I'm
for
on
bridges to
I'm
be.
on D's
I
side
would
with
fucking
this.
hope if you
As
jumped off a
is
bridge, it was at
common.
least over water.
Bridges,
As
yes,
is
do
common.
tend to be over water sometimes. They do
They
tend to
can
be
be
there.
over highways, though. I didn't jump over a bridge over a highway.
Smart.
That's
See?
yeah,
That was
that's
a good idea on my part.
That
I'm
was a
just
fork in the
saying.
road and you went the right way.
Yeah, I chose correctly.
Congratulations.
I asked where is the bridge before I agreed to jump.
That's
That's-
smart.
First and foremost.
That's a good shout.
So she's an
Thank you.
idiot, but amazingly self-aware.
Jesus.
Speaking of idiots, we're moving on to the Hart Trophy nominees.
God.
Oh
The
my
NHL
God.
hates me.
That was the best
fucking
possible
love it.
segue.
Thank you.
10
I
out of
worked real hard on
10.
Look at my little pig.
it.
No notes.
The-
Cute.
The Hart Memorial
His head
Trophy
comes
is
off.
given annually to the NHL player voted most valuable to his team by the Professional Hockey Writers Association. And again, this will be announced when all the other ones are in June. So the 3 nominees this year are Leon Draisaitl, Connor Hellebuck, and Nikita Kucherov. Draisaitl led the NHL in goals, tied for 3rd in points, despite being limited to 71 games for the Oilers, and was a career best plus 32. It was the 4th time in 7 seasons he scored at least 50 goals and 4 straight seasons that he had at least 100 points. The 29-year-old center ranked 2nd in points per game and even strength goals, tied for 2nd in power play goals, 4th in even strength points, and was 1st in overtime goals and tied for 1st in game-winning goals. He had a 14-game point streak and an 18-game point streak this season and only had 11 games without a point. He also had 10 two-goal games. He is a 2-time finalist, and he won the award in 2019-2020. Sorry, now I was just like, that was definitely a dyslexia moment. And can you imagine if a 29-year-old won the award in 1920? Crazy.
That'd be crazy.
The math on that. Outstanding. What an accomplishment.
Fucking time traveler.
Yeah. Connor Hellebuck went 47, 12, and 3 in 63 games, which is tied for the NHL lead with Andrei Vasilevsky of the Lightning. He was with the Winnipeg Jets this season. He led the position in wins, goals against average, and shutouts, and second in save percentage among goalies who have played at least 25 games. He allowed 2 or fewer goals 40 times and 1 or fewer 27 times. The 31-year-old also won the William N. Jennings Trophy for helping the Jets allow an NHL low 191 goals during the regular season. They averaged 2.32 goals against per game and won the President's Trophy as a team with the best regular season record. He is a first-time Hart finalist and was named finalist for the Vezina Trophy as the best goalie in the NHL earlier last week. I think we announced it at some other point, or maybe we didn't. I don't know. He would be the first goalie to win the award since Carey Price did it with the Montreal Canadiens in 2014-2015. Nikita Kucherov led the NHL in scoring for the second straight season with 121 points in 78 games. I've already given you all of Kucha's stats, so I'm just going to move on to the other stuff. He is a 3-time Hart finalist. Yeah, you get it. He finished second last season and winning the award in 2018-2019. And he had a 3-point streak for at least 8 games, and he helped them obviously get to the Stanley Cup playoffs for the 8th season in a row, I should say. 8th straight season. So those are all of our Hart nominees. And then lastly, we have the Jack Adams Award finalists. The Jack Adams is the award for head coaches as adjudged, or they're a judge who have contributed the most to his team's success. And this is presented by the National Hockey League, I guess. It's actually the members of the NHL Broadcasters Association are who votes on it. So the 3 finalists this year are Scott Arnell of the Winnipeg Jets, Martin St. Louis of the Montreal Canadiens, and Spencer Carberry of the Washington Capitals. Yay! We all know who I'm voting for. Yay!
Voting Marty.
Fuck you.
Marty!
Scott, in his first year as head coach of the Jets, guided Winnipeg to franchise records for wins and points in a season en route to the team's first President's Trophy. They had a record of 56, 22, and 4. Only 3 head coaches in NHL history have earned more victories in their first season at the helm of an organization, those being Jim Montgomery and Mike Babcock and Tom Wilson. Arnell, who became the first head coach in the league history to win each of his first 8 games with the club, additionally helped Winnipeg become the first team in NHL history to win 15 of its first 16 games of a season. The Jets ultimately allowed the fewest goals in the NHL, 191, including shootout deciding goals, to capture their second straight William M. Jennings Trophy, topped the league and set a franchise record for road wins, boasted the NHL's best power play and goal differential, and tied for 3rd most in the league. He is the second coach in as many seasons who has been selected as a finalist for the Jack Adams Award after Rick Bowness finished 3rd in voting in 2023-2024, and is vying to become the first winner in Jets/Thrashers history. Martin St. Louis of the Montreal Canadiens is in his 3rd full season behind the Montreal bench. He directed the Canadiens to their first playoff berth since 2020-2021 and their best overall record since 2018-2019. They have 40 wins, 31 losses, and 11 overtime losses. I keep wanting to say ties, but we don't do that anymore. The team continued its upward trajectory under St. Louis' leadership, posting a 15-point improvement over last season's 28th place finishing, following an 8-point rise from 2022 to 2023. That 3-year stretch has also seen the Canadiens steadily increase their offense while tightening their defense. Amongst the largest improvements have been Montreal's penalty kill, which went from 29th to 24th. And 9th this season. St. Louis, who won 4 individual NHL awards as a player, he won the Lady Byng 3 times, the Art Ross twice, the Hart Memorial Trophy once, and the Ted Lindsay Award once, is the Canadiens' first Jack Adams Award finalist since 07-08, when Guy Carbonell placed 2nd in voting, and is seeking to become the franchise's 3rd winner, following Scotty Bowman and Pat Burns. And lastly, Spencer Carberry of the Washington Capitals is in his 2nd year as Washington's head coach. He led the Capitals to the number 2 overall record in the NHL, as well as the top seed in the Eastern Conference for the first time since 2016-2017. After seeing an 11-point improvement during his first season, Washington jumped 20 points this year, the 3rd largest gain from 2023 to 2024, behind only Columbus and Anaheim. Anaheim had a plus 21 rating, which is pretty good, Chris. The Capitals also boasted a 68-goal improvement in total offense, rising from 28th place to 2nd. The team additionally finished among the league leaders in comeback wins, road points, goal differential, penalty killing, home points, and goals against. Carberry is vying to become the 4th Washington head coach to win the Jack Adams Award, following Brian Murray, our favorite, Bruce Boudreau, and Barry Trotz. He is also looking to become the first individual capture coach of the year's honors of the ECHL, AHL, and NHL honor. Wait, let me repeat that. He is also looking to become the first individual capture coach of the year honors at the ECHL, AHL, and NHL levels after winning the ECHL's John Brophy Award and the AHL's Louis A.R. Pieri Memorial Award. So basically, he has won the best coach in the league for ECHL, AHL, and if he wins this, he'll be the first ever to do it in all 3, which would be pretty damn dope.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
but
cool.
You know what you didn't mention with Marty St. Louis, along with all his other stuff? Hockey Hall of Famer.
It wasn't in the write-up, so blame NHL.com because
NHL,
that's not my shit.
How dare you fucking not acknowledge a 2018 Hockey Hall of Fame inductee?
They did not say it in their
fucking
media
ashamed
release,
of yourselves.
So I did not say it in my speech.
That man earned that spot in Toronto.
That he did.
Also, I like how French his name is. Martin St. Louis.
Martin
St. Louis.
Yeah.
What a fucking
Yep.
gem of a human being. I love me. I
also,
love Marty St. Louis.
I mean, I want all the best for Marty, but I want Spencer to win. So.
Well, of course.
Sorry.
Also, yeah, plus 21 is great,
hard.
but it's not good enough for us to, be playing in
draft
May.
lottery.
Yeah, we can't even fucking win a draft lottery, but we'll get to that.
Talk about that. Yeah. Danger, I know you have some of our nominees that have been announced as well, so I will kick it over to you now.
I do. And I'm going to add one to it because the Calder Trophy finalists came out yesterday as well.
Oh, great. I didn't see that.
Did too.
And with some drama behind it as well. Because one person left off of the finalist list was Matvey Michkov.
Matvey Michkov, yeah.
Yeah. The 20-year-old winger for the Flyers, who was not named as a finalist despite his strong performances. And there's some drama there, so check that out. Further information if you're interested. The finalists did come down to Macklin Celebrini, the center for the San Jose Sharks, Lane Hudson, the defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens. Hudson is a finalist for the Calder Trophy. Obviously, that's what we're talking about. But if he wins, he'll be the first Canadiens player to do so since Ken Dryden in 1972. Wow. And lastly, Dustin Wolf, the goaltender for the Calgary Flames. He is the first goalie nominated since Stuart Skinner in 2022-2023 season. He did have a very strong start to the season, but, his performance kind of faltered as the Flames' playoff hopes faded. And to all of my family in Calgary, haha.
Amazing.
I'm a bitch.
No,
what can I say? For other trophy finalists, we have the Frank J. Selke Trophy. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Selke?
The Selke.
Okay. Their finalists are Alexander Barkov from the Florida Panthers, who is just killing it, Anthony Cirelli and Sam Reinhart. There's a whole lot of words, and the font is really small. I'm not going to read through all of their stuff. If you want to know their stats, go on to NHL.com. For the Lady Byng Memorial Trophy finalists, we have Jack Eichel from Las Vegas, Anze Kopitar from Los Angeles, and fuck. See, I was so confident too.
I know.
Anyway,
you were pretty close.
Kopitar from the LA Kings and Braden Point from Tampa Bay. This is the award given annually to the player voted best to combine sportsmanship, gentlemanly conduct, and ability, as voted by the Professional Hockey Writers Association. And lastly, the Bill Masterson Trophy, the Bill Masterson Memorial Trophy. This one's a hard one
save
for
it for
me.
last.
Yeah. We have Sean Monahan from Columbus. He's a great player. We have Gabriel Landeskog from the Avs, who huge comeback. But I gotta go with my man's from the Wild. Marc-Andre Fleury is the last finalist. And the Bill Masterson Memorial Trophy is awarded to the player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, all three
I
great
really,
finalists.
Oh yeah, I feel like this year you can't
they
go
really
wrong.
are. You know, you
Yeah.
can't go wrong here. All obviously have their reasons for deserving, but I really, really hope that Fleury wins it. I can't even read all this stuff about him, like his quote. Like I tear up every time I go to see anything about him lately.
Oh my God! Did you see
He's
the
just
video
one
I
of my.
sent you, or
I
I
I
posted?
couldn't watch it yet. I couldn't.
You will cry. Bring tissues.
Yeah.
His kids made a video for him, and oh my God, one of the quotes was, "I know how much you love hockey, but I'm so happy that you're going to be home to play with me." And I was just like, "Oh my God, I'm a puddle. This is so
Yeah.
beautiful." It was great.
Yeah. It's and the team has really loved having him around.
Yeah.
So obviously, I hope that they're able to stick around. At least I'm sure they'll be here through the end of the school year. It's like another month, but maybe another year or two in Minnesota, because I think
Yeah.
that
I saw a
Here's
very funny video of them asking Fleury recently. Apparently, Gus floated the idea of Fleury being an emergency backup goalie, an e-bug.
yeah,
And so they asked Fleury, would he do it? And he was like, "Oh man, that's funny. Gus said that. Well, if he's cool with it, yeah, I think that'd be great. I'd absolutely do that if I'm still nearby." And I was like, that would be the world's funniest thing, to have your emergency
phenomenal.
backup goalie
just be
be
Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my question
And
for you
you know what?
guys. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead and finish. I'll ask after.
No, I was just gonna say I saw a lot of short videos, and obviously the Wild are out of the playoff run. Shocking. But a lot of them really showcase the relationship between Gus and Fleury, and how much Fleury just became Gus's number one fan,
Yeah.
and how much that meant to both men and the team. But really, he just never was upset about taking, the bench, or just being there when he, needed it.
Mhm.
Gus left a game sick, or something had happened. I don't think it was injury related, but he played like 72 seconds, I think, in our last or second to last playoff game. And he talked about how, he didn't think he'd ever hit the ice during a game again, let alone a playoff game. And for him, like, that 72 seconds meant the world. He goes, I actually had nerves, butterflies, the chills going out there. So
Well, and it was
he was
against
like
a
that,
team he played with too, which was cool.
right.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
that was even more fitting. The only team that would have been more fitting if it wasn't Vegas, if it was Pittsburgh, that was it.
Yeah.
Question.
Answer.
Yes.
Considering the controversy surrounding the Calder Trophy, who do you guys think actually wins it? Because I already feel like I have my pick for who I think could win it. So what do you guys think?
I think Celebrini is going to take it.
I think Celebrini too.
Maul?
That would be my guess.
I don't know. I mean, it's a hard one, because I think it's interesting. And I mean, we saw last year with some of the trophy winners who we thought should have gotten it, who didn't.
Right.
So does Celebrini get it, or does it go to, I don't know. I would like to see maybe Hudson get it.
That was what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly, I think Lane Hudson ends up winning it, because the low expectations people had for him this season, and the fact that as a defenseman, as a rookie defenseman, he had the outstanding season that he did. And I'm not saying Macklin didn't. Macklin had a really good season in what was a very difficult situation in San Jose. But dude, Lane Hudson was on one this year, and it was very impressive, the numbers that he posted. So while I wouldn't be surprised if it was Celebrini, I feel like Lane Hudson's going to walk away with it this year.
well, and
That's fair.
Celebrini was injured for a while, if I remember
He was injured for a little part of the season.
But I also think
And
you
I
have to
don't
take into
remember.
consideration, like, out of the 3 rookies that are the finalists,
Mhm.
only one of them made it to the playoffs.
That's fair.
which is Lane for sure.
Lane.
But I think you also
Now-
have to take into consideration who had the largest impact on team culture. Like Macklin, I think, was more of a leader in the locker room than Hudson was. His name
Right.
was bandied about more as to why the culture of the team is so good. The Sharks lost, but yet they had a winning mentality. And part of that is because of the relationship between Celebrini and Will Smith.
Which, yeah, and I feel like
So that may play into it too.
Impact of the team can absolutely play into it, and I feel like the expectations is another one. Like I had mentioned prior, it's like it's one of those things where you have to live up to that shit, and
Yeah.
thankfully Macklin was able to, and I feel like that's why we were all so blown away with Lane Hudson's season, is because I won't say our expectations weren't high, because we all knew coming out of college he was going to be a talent, or coming out of the CHL rather. But like his stock went from here to fucking here by the end of the season with how well he did, and he looked really good in the playoffs too. I mean, granted, it didn't look good for Montreal, but I mean, you watch those games, he looked impressive. Like he looked like a veteran who could handle the pressure of the playoffs. So between those two, I mean, I'm happy for whoever wins, but I feel like Lane's gonna steal it this year, personally.
He might,
yeah. We could see. I mean, we'll let y'all know in June when all these other ones are announced too.
Facts.
So, thank you very much, Danger.
You're welcome.
Maul, would you like to talk us through some updates on our playoff situation?
Yeah, boy, it just gets exciting week after week, and I love talking about playoff hockey. So, as of now, all of the first rounds have been decided. We are no longer waiting. Thank God. It was a nail biter, especially for Leaf fans, the whole way through. So, first round winners, we have Toronto beating the Senators. We have the Panthers beating the Lightning. We have the Caps beating the Canadiens. We have the Hurricanes beating the Devils. The Jets beating the Blues. And boy, that was a hard fought battle. What an amazing game seven. And holy shit, getting that goal with 1.2 seconds left in the third period to force double overtime, almost triple overtime for a game 7. That's playoff hockey.
Maul and I were just losing our shit the whole time. We were like, are you fucking kidding me? This game.
Yep. Will never end, and my God, we don't want it to end. Congratulations to the Jets, because you earned that. You fought for that. That was wild to watch, and I'm glad we did.
And in that series, every home team won. Every game, the home team won each game.
Yep, which was pretty interesting to see.
Yeah.
We have Dallas beating Colorado. We have the Golden Knights beating Minnesota, and we have the Oilers taking out the LA Kings. As of right now, only one game of the second round has happened, and that is Toronto, Florida, and Toronto almost fucked it up. I don't know how you almost blow a 3-goal lead, but you know what? If anyone's going to do it, Toronto's the one.
I mean, they won. All that matters.
They did. It out.
A lot of controversy already going on in that series right now, and that's going to be fun to watch as that develops. We'll get more into that later. You'll have to watch shorts for those ones. But game 1 is done for there. As of right now, time of recording, we have Washington versus Carolina, and it is still scoreless, and they are almost done the first period. We have Vegas versus the Edmonton Oilers. That starts at 9:30 at time of recording, so we'll be watching that after we finish this episode. And then I believe tomorrow we have the Winnipeg Jets, or Wednesday, we have Winnipeg Jets versus Dallas take on their first round against each other. So fantastic matchup. It has been quite the series so far. Our predictions were horribly wrong, horribly right. We've kind of gone all the way through. Let me pull up the little cheat sheet, because
I was just going to say, do you want to share who was right and who was wrong?
Hell yeah, I want to pull up that cheat sheet. You worked hard on that shit.
Don't do it.
And I mean, other games that were great was the game 7 for Dallas, Colorado. That also went to overtime. And out of all people, a one Mikko Rantanen buried the game winner to put away his former team after scoring a hat trick. Like, that game
Yeah.
was also very similar, where it took them the third period to catch up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Damn, dude, the Western Conference was just like no one won
Battling.
easily.
Yeah. All right. Did
I
you
mean,
find
it's
it,
a
Mal?
tough conference, though.
Yes.
Oh,
Like,
it's
Okay.
such
It
a
is.
tough conference.
Okay, there it is. I see it. All right. So as of right now, the way we voted, the four of us in here, you guys can put your picks in the comments down below. We would love to see who you vote for and who you expect to win round
Correct.
2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We all got it right, and we all predicted that the Capitals were going to beat the Canadians. Sorry, Canadians. As a Canadian, I'm sorry that you lost,
Yeah.
but you're going against Capitals, and unfortunately, that was
na 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 na.
you're out.
Sorry, Habs fans. Not maybe next year.
Goodbye.
In an interesting pick, D was the only one to say Carolina Hurricanes would move forward. The rest of us said that the Devils would win.
I'll
I
take my
had,
flowers. Thank you.
I mean, I had
D's the only
mentioned
one to get that right.
to you guys
Yeah.
earlier, I had mentioned I don't regret that pick, because at the end of the regular season, Carolina looked fucking terrible. They were like 3-7 in their last 10
Yeah.
games. They were really struggling. I don't regret that pick.
Yep.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I was right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
You were right.
by the way, this is all Eastern Conference right now. We'll go Western
Yeah.
Conference, obviously, when we're done.
Yeah.
For the third matchup, D, Chris, and myself said that the Panthers would beat the Lightning. Danger said the Lightning would win.
I just didn't want the Panthers to fucking make it, man. I'll be
Fair.
honest.
That's fair.
It was a good series. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's cool to see in-state rivals go against each other. You know, we love to see
violent
that.
fucking
And you know,
series.
the teams. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
Thank
the teams don't have to
Jesus.
travel a lot. You know, I think
Yeah.
they're what, like 4 hours away from each other, which is
If
nice.
that.
And then in the final Eastern Conference matchup, we all picked the Toronto Maple Leafs to win. I love you guys. Because guess
You're
what?
welcome.
They did. Very close. Oh, boy. Very close. Very, very close. I was literally Game 7 in my car driving home from work, screaming at the top of my lungs while on the phone with my wife. And she's like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to hang up. I can't listen to you right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sitting
Fair.
there like, how are you going to fuck this up? Are you shitting me? Because, I mean, I'm a Leafs fan, so
Yeah.
Well, it's a
It's to be
good thing they
expected,
didn't go
right?
to 7 games. It's a
Fair.
good thing it only went to 6
Yeah.
games then.
yeah, that's
I
what
know.
meant,
Your
sorry.
heart couldn't have taken it.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm just
You could not have
it's-
handled the
look,
7th game.
No.
I would not have been able to. So, you know what? Move on. And over to the Western Conference, we have D, Chris, and Danger all picked Winnipeg Jets to move on. I was the lone wolf on this one, and I did the St. Louis Blues. Unfortunately, I was wrong, and they were right. That's the only time I'll ever say that, so record that.
Oh, it is.
It was
It's
a really
recorded.
good game.
And it's going to be on the internet for everyone to see.
It was a really good game. It was a great series between the two teams. Chris and I had an absolute blast watching this on Sunday, being like, just kind of like teasing each other, being like, dude, if I win, then I got one wrong. And if you win, you got one wrong. And we're so close. And this is such a crazy game. And it was a cool game.
Yeah.
And you know what?
So we were going to watch Star Wars, but I was
'Cause
like,
it was
all
May the
right,
4th.
this game's kind of over. And then
Oh, that's
Winnipeg
right.
scored.
It was Star
And
Wars.
then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, all right, well, maybe. You know, you never know. Getting ready to shut it off with 1.6 seconds left, they score. I said, Mala Stab. I was like, oh my God, Winnipeg just tied it up with 1 second left of the game.
He's like,
and then
he's like, get the fuck in here. We gotta watch this. I was
We
like, okay,
hopped
I'm
in a
coming.
call, ended up watching the double OT. That was insane. But again, like, all
And didn't
credit
watch
to
Star Wars.
St. Louis. All
Yeah.
credit to
Yeah.
St. Louis. They had
fought.
a great turnaround to the season, and they made Winnipeg fucking earn that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
They
you know
made
what?
them earn that.
This is what makes playoff hockey the best hockey.
Oh, I agree.
Is
I
games
agree.
like this that go down to the wire and blow your expectations out of it. This is what we want to see. So
Yeah.
again, win or lose, bring it to game 7 all the time. We just want to have more hockey. Because the longer this gets dragged out, the shorter the rest is between the start of the season.
Yeah, and these
True.
that game,
That's fair. Very
this
fair.
series, the Winnipeg and Dallas is going to be insane because both of them won in overtime in Game 7. So these two are going to be the shortest, the one with the least rest. So it should be quite interesting.
I'm sometimes a little old school. Like, my birthday is June 15th. I usually like hockey to be over before my birthday. But I grew up with it being done in like April or May, at the latest.
Not anymore, especially if we have what happened this year that we did last year, where it went to like
where it's
August.
Like every game is 7 game or every
give me hockey forever, all year round,
right?
Forever.
Just keep it going.
Right. But
all right, so we have the Dallas Stars versus Colorado Avalanche. This was an interesting one. Was split right down the middle. The ladies picked the Avalanche, and the gents, we picked the Stars. And this one went to the gentlemen.
Yep. That's all right.
I love the Avs story, and I love Landeskog. Like, I'm happy that he came back, but it was just like, if I was looking at this purely from an analytical standpoint and how the season went, Dallas was just fucking unbelievable this season. And I think,
even though they had that one game that we made fun of them for, and if you haven't seen the clip, please go watch it. It's absolutely hilarious.
Check that out. But they were, they were great all year. Ottinger was on fire all year, and Jake Ottinger's a big reason as to why.
Only good thing about.
Well, not the only thing.
And yes, I say that because he's from Minnesota.
Yeah,
he's not the only good thing about Dallas.
Series. And Winnipeg is going to have to earn this one again.
Robertson could be back in time.
Yeah. I think that's the plan. I'm not quite sure. I know that they're hoping.
I just saw that. Yeah.
Dallas is going to make Winnipeg earn this again. Like, this is again not going to be an easy one. They are not going to go down They're not going to go down quietly at all.
Third matchup, we have the Vegas Golden Knights versus Minnesota Wilds. Interesting enough, this was also split down the middle. Mm-hmm. The ladies went the Minnesota Wilds. The gentlemen, Chris and myself, went Vegas Golden Knights.
You just hate me. I know it. It's fine.
The gentleman took this one too.
I just, again, I want to reiterate.
Don't make me hold a 30-year grudge against you, Chris. I will.
Listen, I'm picking purely off of statistics. I ain't picking favorites for anyone.
Wait. Can I bring up my one stat now, though?
Sure.
Because just to, and again, I have to look at the picture because we're just that bad. The Wild are a great team. Like, it was really a toss-up. Like, Vegas is on fire.
They went to 6 games. Like, they made them earn it. And again, I kept saying, everyone kept saying that this was a fucking easy bye week for Vegas, and it wasn't. I knew it wasn't going to be, because if there's one thing Minnesota does, is they make you fucking work for it. Mm-hmm. And they absolutely had to earn that. And the fact that we
beat them, I think 2 of the games we beat them and we're in Vegas too. So Vegas is not an easy team to beat at home.
And the fact the first that we 2, if I remember.
I think so. We lost the first home game, and then obviously other home games after that. But the Wild are now the first team. We've got a record in the history books, guys.
Yeah.
The first team in MLB, NBA, NFL, and NHL history to make the playoffs 8+ times in a 10-year span, but lose in the opening round every time. Woo!
It's unfortunate.
What a great fucking
I think if Minnesota had a different draw in the first round, we'd be talking about the possibility of them making the second round. But like Danger said, Vegas is hot this year, and I feel like they're making a deep cup run. So like, it's just tough.
But look at like who we could have faced. We could have faced Vegas, Colorado, or Dallas.
Yeah.
Or fucking St. Louis?
Because well, no, because they were wild card teams. So you could have, imagine if you got that second wild card spot, you would have had to play Winnipeg right off the rip.
Which would be tough.
Oh, we could have beat Winnipeg in our sleep, though.
Winnipeg struggled, so like it obviously.
Yeah.
But again, I think it hurts them, especially now with Winnipeg not having Scheifele healthy. Like, you're missing your best player, and they struggled, and you saw what that looked like. So who knows? In a different world, Minnesota could be in the second round right now.
The
ladies could have been right.
Yeah. Instead, we were wrong.
And finally, for the last team in the Western Conference, we have the LA Kings versus the Oilers. D picked the LA Kings and was the only one. The rest of us picked the Oilers. And we were right.
Yep.
The Kings aren't there
Listen,
yet.
the Kings had some strong showings though. They came out of the gate
yeah.
I did.
pretty strong, and then they just lost steam, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
And at one point,
Great job,
they looked
Edmonton.
like they were gonna take the Oilers. They were gonna beat them, and then the
They were
Oilers
kicking
came
the
back.
shit
And
out of them.
honestly, that's why I
Yep.
picked the Oilers, is because if we learned anything from last year,
Mhm.
if there's a team that can be down and out and make a push and go to Game 7
don't-
or draw out the series, it's
They
the
don't
Oilers.
quit.
Yeah.
They don't quit.
They have that something like that fight or flight or whatever it is, where when they're backed into a corner, all of a sudden they remember how to play professional hockey and show up.
All right. Do we want to give our predictions for round 2
We
of the
can.
Stanley Cup playoffs? I know I dropped that in there, Samal. If you want to list out who picked what, for posterity, we will record it, and then you guys can drop your thoughts for the round 2 winners in the comments down below.
So, for round 2, we have the Capitals versus the Carolina Hurricanes. To no surprise, we all said the Capitals. I know, weird.
Caps
We
go.
did that the first round. We're doing it the second round too. Shocker. For the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Florida Panthers, D is the only one to say Panthers. The rest of us have decided that the Leafs are going to take it. We are following NHL 25 and their simulated EA Cup, and we're going to follow that very regimentedly through this. And that is a word. Look it up. Google it.
It's a word, but I don't think you said it right.
Regimentedly?
Yep. Google it.
The
Urban
extra D is very
Dictionary.
important.
Even better.
Yeah, the third
Always
D.
get the extra D.
Well, there's 2 D's in here, so I have to
Thank you very much.
add it out.
Yeah.
He said the thing.
I did.
He did.
In the Western Conference, we have the Winnipeg Jet versus the Dallas Stars.
This motion that you did, though.
D and myself agreed on this one that
Mhm.
Dallas is going to take it, but Chris and Danger think that it's Winnipeg.
Yeah.
We'll find
see.
out in like 3 weeks because it's going to
Yeah,
go to Game
right.
7. Last but not least, we have the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Edmonton Oilers. And I'm the lone wolf on this one because go Canada, go. I'm the only one that thinks the Oilers is going to be able to do it. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed that they can do it because there's Canadian teams are slowly being weaned out, but this is the year it's coming back to Canada. I believe it.
I'm sticking true with my picks with my bracket. I mean, the only one that I got wrong
we
was
have
New
to.
Jersey. And again, it wouldn't have mattered because I still picked Washington anyway, so it didn't matter who they played. But yeah, no, listen, I'm not changing my fucking picks at all. So
I mean, I don't remember if I changed mine from what I predicted in the pre-series. We had to a little bit because of the people that I picked to go on that fucking didn't
yeah,
go
you
on.
had no choice.
Yeah.
So
I
So
feel like-
I can tell you that based off mine, I stayed the exact same with my picks without even realizing it because I didn't look at my cheat sheet.
Oh yeah, see, and
I
just
only
kept my
changed
I
picks.
one.
stuck with mine.
I changed
Um,
one. I changed one of them. I was forced to change because neither of those teams won in
Yeah.
their bracket, and then one of them I changed.
And then
I said that it was going to be Dallas.
I mean,
So.
the curse of the President's Trophy almost hit the other night. So.
It very much did.
1 point,
did.
6 seconds away from being cemented?
I'm
Yeah.
going to make a prediction.
You know?
I'm
Oh,
going to
here we go.
predict that
Do it.
Vegas has an easier time
Cards are up.
beating Edmonton than they did at Minnesota.
Oh, I can believe
Strong prediction. Okay.
because I think Edmonton could easily fall apart.
Mhm. They
It's
have
their
a history of doing
goaltending.
it.
It's their goaltending.
Yeah.
That's hurting them
Yes.
severely.
I'm going to
That's true.
respectfully decline and disagree with you.
Oh, of course.
That's
Okay.
because I voted for them to win. So,
Aren't you from Ontario?
Fair enough.
no, New Brunswick.
Oh, all right. Then why the fuck are you cheering for a West Coast team? Stop it.
Because they're Canadian. And
Hey.
at this point, I want
Cheer for who you
Canada to
want.
win. Yeah.
Chris,
I say that-
you root
I
for
say
a
that
West
as a
Coast
Northeastern American who cheers for a fucking Southern California
Yeah.
team.
Right.
team. Shut
Correct.
up.
But at
But
least they're my
you know
first
what?
team.
I am
Yeah.
excited
So-
because out of the five Canadian teams that started the playoffs,
Yeah.
3 are still in, so we're doing good.
Yeah.
Odds are looking really
Mhm.
good for us this year.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
so
a Canadian
bring
team
it
easily
back.
could make it to the final too. I still don't think that they're going to take it all though.
Fair enough.
My personal belief, if a team's going to take it, it's going to be Winnipeg.
Okay.
But I
Canada,
don't
I mean,
I'll
think
take
they're
it.
going to.
I think it's.
I still think the Caps are going to get it.
I think if Washington has to play Toronto, I think this version of Toronto right now in the playoffs is they're very aggressive with the physicality.
That you're
Their
not.
offense is
Yeah.
absolutely stepped up massively. The only thing that could hurt them is what's going on with Anthony Stolarz. It depends if Joseph Wall can actually like stop a puck. But other than that, I feel like I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk to the finals at all for the Caps. Even in
No,
this round,
No.
Carolina
This is
looked
gonna be
real
tough.
fucking brutal.
It's
Now,
not. It's
they're gonna have to
0-0
earn it.
after the first. So
I-
yeah,
I
they're gonna
will
have to
say
earn it.
it will be interesting because at the end of this series, we're either all going to still have our teams in that we predicted we're going to win,
Yeah.
or we're going to not have our teams in.
Yep.
So it's
That's
going to
All
be
I
very
can
interesting
say
to see how that works out.
Yeah. We could all
Is
be wrong
I-
after the end of the series, technically.
Which would be wild.
Yeah.
If the Wild can't make it past the first round with the biggest Wild fan that I know in heaven and having a little bit of pull, at least I believe in heaven, I don't know what they're gonna do ever.
They'll get there
figure it
eventually.
out.
They've
My
got
grandma,
some-
my grandma
Yeah.
would have pulled every string she had up there to get them to be able to make it.
I think
No,
I,
'cause
I
here's the
think
thing.
Minnesota's almost there.
Yeah.
And
Danger. I
as
think
of
if your
today, at
grandma's gonna
least, do
pull strings, she's gonna wait until you can be at a game to pull it.
Oh yeah.
well,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
very sweet.
There's
And
they're almost there.
oh,
They
I
are
better not
almost
say
there.
that.
They're
I don't know
missing
that it's real public knowledge yet.
they're
But
missing
with my sister, you know,
something.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Of anything, that would be the other string that she
Mhm.
would pull. But
I think if they tighten up a little more on the defensive front, I think if they get a little better and less sloppy in the neutral zone, stop making bad turnovers, and if you have a good backup behind Gus, and not to say anything bad about one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, but Marc-Andre Fleury was well past his prime and absolutely needed to retire this year.
absolutely.
If they can pull up what's his
Absolutely.
name, that kid you guys have in Iowa that's really good.
Volstat.
Yeah, if he can adjust well to being up and in the show, I feel like there are little pieces here and there that Minnesota need, and they'll be fine. Like the team is, they're like the Kings. They're almost there. They just need a
And
little something to put them
very
right where they need
confident
to
that
be.
they'll re-sign Kirill.
Mhm.
If they have the money, you give that man the
They
money.
have the money now that we'll be finally out of the fucking Parisi Suter
The
contract.
Parise Suter
Yeah.
contracts. Jesus, it could be worse. You guys could be the fucking New York Islanders who are still paying Rick DiPietro.
That's true.
Right.
Very
But
true.
we should have never been paying those two this fucking long.
Yeah, well, it's the contracts that they had signed, which was stupid, but that's
Yeah.
Right.
a conversation for another
Yeah,
day.
we should have never had to.
Well,
Yeah,
We
well,
could do
I
a whole
bitched about it
episode
enough
on
last
bad
season.
contracts.
Yeah.
I think what we're going to do though is switch to some bad planning,
Yeah.
bad organizing. I don't know how to properly frame this, but
Who
Chris,
fucking knows anymore?
can you tell us about the stupidity of the draft lottery system
Well-
that they invented for this year?
You guys, it's that time of the year. It's our annual segment where you hear me bitch about the draft lottery.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, like I always say, that it's fucking stupid. Gary Bettman, call me so I can tell you you're a moron and then tell you how to fix it, because it's real fucking simple. She bets $sign fucking at me.
At NHL.com. Yeah.
At NHL.com. So the draft
Yeah,
lottery,
D-bets.
I'm going to be honest. I have no
Mhm.
fucking idea how it worked last night. Zero knowledge on how they tallied up all this. It made no fucking sense.
There are people that were there, staff members, making accusations that it was rigged.
Oh yeah,
that was an interesting article to read.
Because the team that could
that weird
have
like little
it,
tab, the like you said, the tally thing that the guy was doing, like
it made no sense.
Just like pulling numbers in your ass. What are you doing?
So the way the NHL lottery system worked this year, which we have an explanation for, but it still doesn't make sense. So let me just read this paragraph. A set of 14 ping pong balls are placed in a lottery machine, which allows for 1,001 combinations. Each team in the lottery is assigned a set of random 4-number combinations. The worse a team's record, the more combinations they are assigned. So the team with the worst record this past season, which was the San Jose Sharks, they got 185 4-number combinations, representing an 18.5 chance of winning the first lottery draw. An accounting firm then runs a process for the league and keeps tabs on which teams are lined up with each combination. There's also one combination that is deleted from the proceedings to make it an even 1,000 instead of the 1,001. The first draw of ping pong balls determines the number one pick based on the assigned combinations, yada yada. However, because of a rule change in 2021, a team can move up a maximum of 10 spots in the order. Therefore, if a team's spot was number 12 through 16 wins the first draw, they move up accordingly, and the team lowest in standings, in this year's case, the Shark, would then slot in at number 1. So if team number 16 won, they would move up to draft pick 6, and the San Jose Sharks would have gotten number 1. So then there's a second draw to determine the next spot using similar rules as the first, and then so on and so forth.
So you hear how complicated that is? You hear that?
So the wheel's
it sounds
not
dumb
broken.
As fuck to you,
Why
right?
fix it? Exactly.
Right.
Listen, as much as I can't stand the NFL, you know the one thing the NFL does right that makes sense? Their fucking draft process. Guess who gets the number 1 overall pick? That'd be the worst team in the fucking league, because we're gonna do this, and we're gonna make it so it's a maximum of 10 spots. Because guess what? The magic fucking craziness actually happened. Because you know who got the number 1 overall pick this year? Not the San Jose Sharks, the New York Islanders. Make it make sense. They moved up 9 spots.
We have a chance to see something new and innovative come out of the PWHL because of the way that they have set up their draft lottery, right? To see who gets the first number 1 spot. It isn't the person worst in rankings. It's the person that performs the best after they've been statistically eliminated from the playoffs. And so with that, you're seeing teams actually fight for a spot and not just tanking to try and win first place, like we suspect Chicago did with Connor Bedard. That system, I think, makes sense as well if we're looking at something to award effort.
Why do we need a gimmick though? Like, why do we need that? Why can't we just assign based on standings? Like, why do we have to add all this extra fluff? Like, it's a fucking
because
pick.
Then teams can tank. If you know that you're getting Connor Bedard, if you know that you're getting Alex Ovechkin, if you know that you're getting Wayne Gretzky, because they are coming up and eligible for the draw this year or for the draft this year, then you tank your fucking season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I guess the only way I would be okay with some sort of like system would be the PWHL, because at least it's based on like points at the end. Like that I'd be okay with, but it's like we changed every
NHL
fucking
is dedicated
year.
to
what are we
system.
doing?
The NHL is dedicated to having a system and to not just awarding it to the person who scores the least. So if they're going to be dedicated to having a system, do something better than a fucking ping pong ball draw where you're assigned a random 4-digit number and you can be statistically eliminated as each ball comes out of the fucking hopper.
It's so
I mean, that's like going down to the
It's
local dive bar and watching goldfish races to see who's going to freaking pay for the next round of shots.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
I mean, like, and to your idea though about like teams tanking their season if they know that there's a good pick coming up, put in a clause in there that penalizes that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's
like,
what
you can get the number 1. Yeah, you can get the number 1 draft spot, but you can't have more than 2 losses in a row or 3 losses in a row, or you forfeit 5 spots or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so
Well,
dumb.
But how do they regulate that and know that it's them tanking versus them just being bad.
Yeah.
That's the way
There's,
that they
you know,
do it by being statistically eliminated. Then it's the people who did the best after being eliminated and then just give up, roll over, and die
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
awarded the opportunity to have a higher percentage. Like, if you're still going to do a draw, at least do it that way instead of a random, like, what the fuck ever. Because San Jose had the worst record, they got more balls. You know what I mean? They got more combinations possible
Yeah.
to have an
And
18.5% chance. It's like, that's stupid.
What's crazy
Because
to
it didn't
me
even fucking
is
help them.
the Islanders were in a legitimate playoff position, and now they get the number 1 pick. Like,
Yeah.
how is that fair to the teams that were at the bottom that could really use? And again, I know everyone is probably saying Chris is sour grapes because your team got fucked the last 2 years. Yes, they did. And I was pissed about that, but I wasn't pissed because it was my team. I was pissed because you're fucking over other teams to just have this weird system that awards teams that shouldn't have the first overall pick. I could see a world where you allow the maximum for a team like the Islanders to move up to 5. Like that, to me, I'm okay with. But there should be a cap where these like such and such teams can only pick 1 through 4. It's the only thing that can change, because that is incredibly unfair. That they moved up 9 fucking spots? Come on.
Yeah.
In what world is that fair? It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's
maybe
fucking
it's
wrong.
just they should maybe take it from the teams that were completely out of playoff contention and not battling for the wild card spot, and just have it from those teams for the first 3
bottom
picks or
10.
something.
Well,
bottom 10.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at
Something.
the lottery results, the 16th team is Montreal. They were in the fucking playoffs, and they get to go 16.
It's only because they got that pick from Calgary.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
And that's the
that
other
was a
like
pick on a
bullshit
trade.
thing about it, because you get these draft picks in trades and whatnot that screw up everything else,
Yeah.
Because I mean, shit, Vegas could have gotten a pick from Pittsburgh, and boom, they could have had a shot at the draft lottery because they owned that pick due to a trade.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's a
Which is
broken
crazy.
fucking system, and I hate sounding like a broken record every year. But fuck, guys, come on! If we're bitching about
I
it
don't
this
think it'll
much,
change as long as Bettman's there, though.
no, it's not gonna. It probably won't ever change, and we're probably gonna bitch about it till the day we all fucking croak. But it's like I'm so tired of the bullshit, because you have teams that deserve the opportunity to get the good players, and you're just taking it away from them. Like,
because it can make or break their next season. Like, yeah, you had a shitty season this season, but next season, that one player could make or break the team. That draft pick.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It's just it's fucked. And
I mean, and then you have this situations like Bedard, who Chicago didn't do shit this year,
because it's like, wow, congrats,
and he's
you guys
supposed to be
were
the best player in the world right now. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, congrats, because your team just missed out on the playoffs. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna hand you Matthew Schaefer, who is essentially one of the next generational defenseman talents, and you can have him, because we just want to do this weird system to make everything seem to be a spectacle. You know who else does all that bullshit? The NBA. And you know what basketball fans are pissed off about? All the fucking gimmicks.
The NBA.
Like, let's stop.
Well,
and let's understand that it's stupid.
That's a great point too, though, Chris, because this was the first year that they've ever done it live. So they did a live drawing of these fucking numbers rather than recorded and just announcing it. And so it does feel gimmicky. It does feel like a way that they were trying to like boost fucking ratings and shit and boost engagement. But that's not the way that people want to be engaged. We want to watch a live draft lottery when you have fucking interesting shit happening.
Yeah.
And that's not interesting to have a gimmick that nobody understands the system.
And you want to know the only people who are happy about it? I don't know if you guys saw on social media. Islanders fans are the only people who are like, fuck yeah, let's go. Every other team in the league, like, what are we doing? Yeah. Why is this okay?
Right. And it's not just people who have like a rivalry with them. You know what I mean?
No.
It's not interdivision rivals being like, I fucking hate the Islanders, so I don't want them to have anything happy ever.
But it's like, when you even have the ESPN commentators saying, how are they figuring this out? Like, no one knows except whoever the guy was with the pencil. He's apparently the only one that knows how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not convinced he even knows how to do it.
Yeah. They hire an accounting team to figure all this out and to keep track of it.
I don't know. I'm so irritated with it. Like, congrats to the New York Islanders. They didn't really do anything wrong. So like I don't want people to think that I'm taking this out on the Islanders. They didn't do anything wrong. They earned that apparently fair and square. I just think it's bullshit that the NHL is just like, oh, yeah, no, here's what we're going to do. We're going to allow a team who shouldn't have the number 1 overall pick to have it. And again, they didn't play the system in any way. It's just a random fucking draw. But like, I just still think it's stupid. So
yeah.
That's my rant for today.
Thank you.
And I'll have it next year too. So just be prepared.
Well, hey, for all we know, they could change it. Maybe they'll watch the PWHL and be like, we should steal more things from women, and they'll take that.
I mean, but they're doing it correctly. So like, teach these morons how to do something.
Yeah. So then for that reason, they won't. Okay, got it.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Well, that brings us actually to another interesting question. Mal, would you like to ask us the question of the week?
So, before I ask it, you already know my answer. I'm very strong on this. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm very vocal on it. And we've talked about this a lot on this show this season. But the question this week is, 3 days in the playoffs, it was reported that the viewership was down 27% compared to last year. Why is that? And what do you guys think can be done to improve the viewership?
Well, so I think I'm very disappointed to see viewership down by 27% in the early part of the series. It did go up, though not by much. From what I saw, for like a Game 7 situation, they were still down 25% for the Game 7 of the Avalanche Stars and 20% for the game of the Blues versus Jets in comparison to those same conference matchups, Game 7 matchups from last year. And so that's still like quite a significant amount down. And I would have hoped that after the Four Nations, tournament, that it would have gone up. However, I think that we're also getting into a period of the year where people are kind of just like done. They're a little burnt out. Other sports have started more fully. Basketball's in full swing. Thank you. I know what you're doing that for. Thank you. Basketball's in full swing. Yeah. We've got other stuff going on. And I think that the NHL doesn't do a great job of promoting it. Number one, we've had this discussion a lot about national broadcasts versus local broadcasts. I think that when we talk about the local versus the national, a lot of the stuff that was on for the Four Nations was broadcast on national television. But I think that people who aren't as into the sport, they got into it because it was high octane, high violence, and all of that. I don't think that those broadcasters are enough to keep people interested, because as much as I like some of the broadcast teams on TNT, I think the intermission reports with like Biz and PK and all of that on their various networks, I think those people are interesting. I think the actual play-by-play announcers for national broadcasts lack in the personality necessary to develop a fan mentality. And so when you have the first round series, if people tune back into TNT or back into ESPN or back into whatever, and they're met with that, and there's not as much on the line with nationalist pride in terms of go Team USA, go Team Canada, so on and so forth, there's not as much to be interested in. And the local commentators who do a great job of explaining the game and making it fun and making it interesting aren't getting the airtime. And so I think maybe, I know round one is all local and it's streamed nationally as well. And then round 2 goes to all national broadcasts, which I personally hate. I think maybe we need to do more to bring the local color commentary to a live performance. Like, let them do more. Let them build the fan base. That's what they are paid to do and do so well. Nobody watches hockey for ESPN analysts. Nobody does. But all of us know our home commentator's name and know others in the league too, because they're good and they make hockey fun.
Right.
But you also have to understand that in order for that to happen, there is a lot more like behind the scenes logistics that would have to be in that. Like ESPN, Turner Broadcast, they're not gonna pay the respective local companies and local channels to have their talent on TV when they can have their own in-house people do it for 10 times cheaper. And that's just how the game is played, unfortunately. Like, I see what you're saying. Like, I'd love to hear my commentary team on a broadcast, but it's like, it's just not going to happen.
But I think it just means that they have to invest in better talent, because if your people aren't enough to keep the eyes and ears on screen, then you need to find new fucking people.
I'm not understanding why John Butchergross isn't like the main guy on ESPN. Like, I like the guy that they have, but John Butchergross is way more entertaining when he's calling an NHL game as opposed to the other guy. And I can't remember his name right now, and I'm forgetting it because I like his voice, but Bucci's a blast.
Yeah. So that's my take on why it's down.
It's fair.
I too think, in addition to everything you said, it's just so goddamn hard sometimes to figure out where each game is playing. And I think some people, especially weather's getting nice, they want to be outside, they don't want to fight with it. You know, if you just had it on a set of channels or one channel or not fucking blacked out, people would watch it.
True.
The fact that like so many of my hometown games, thankfully now that I've moved, I don't have this problem as often. But there were times where sitting in Minnesota, I couldn't watch a Minnesota game.
Mm-hmm.
A home game if I wanted to. You know, like it was just, that's my biggest frustration. And I think that people, when weather gets nice and kids are busy with end of school stuff, and as a parent, I certainly know, and Maul can attest to it too, I'm sure, that's just one more thing that you don't have time to figure out, as much as you may love the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Or purely you're just not home because you've got other shit going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, what about you?
Well, I see what you're saying, and while in the regular season, absolutely, I see what you're saying, but there are 2 channels you can find the NHL playoffs: TNT, ESPN.
Oh,
that's where they are, you know, and it's like.
But what happens when you can't afford? Like, I haven't had a job in 6 months. I can't afford to stream ESPN.
No, that's I mean, yeah, but
I can't afford a cable package with ESPN.
That's
TNT is a different story, but not every game is on TNT, you know.
But I mean, that's a very specific, like, to your personal situation, which is valid, absolutely.
Right, but I'm certainly not the only person out there that's a hockey fan without a job.
No, but I mean, like, the NHL is not going to worry about that. Like, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but that's like they're looking at the bigger picture. To whereas, like, yes, that is a thing, and I understand because I've been there too. So. But like for them, the 2 channels that they're on are like ESPN has its own streaming service. TNT, the cool thing about if you don't have cable, all the games are streamed on Max. So like if you have access to a Max like a streaming service account, boom, it's right there.
Again.
You know?
So
I have an Amazon Fire Stick with live TV on it. So I can get TNT, but I can't get ESPN.
That's weird. Because ESPN's cable, like that usually comes like with everything.
I'll be honest.
Interesting.
I haven't like looked that far into it because I don't really watch live TV anymore. But also, like, I know I could get TNT because wrestling shit used to be like.
So the thing that frustrates me the most is, where can you watch football?
ABC, Fox, CBS.
And Amazon Prime on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't need to have any wild, crazy subscriptions. You don't need to do anything out of the ordinary. It's always on the same channel, week after week, season after season.
Even
Where
with
can you watch
ESPN,
basketball?
I would sit at my computer and watch an NHL game if I had to. Why is it not like I still have to have the subscription to watch it on ESPN's website? If I'm willing to sit here for 3 hours to watch a hockey game, why can't I watch it for free?
The amount of times for the first round playoff games that I had to watch the play-by-play either through Google or through ESPN's website because my ESPN subscription wasn't enough is incredibly frustrating. For me personally, right?
Mhm.
I would pay $10 more a month during playoffs to guarantee to be able to see the games.
Mm.
Because
I think
that is a lot cheaper than having to pay $80 for YouTube TV or sign up for DirecTV or any of those other subscriptions. Thankfully, after begging and pleading my mother, she gave me her login to Spectrum so I can watch it now, no problem. So problem solved. Thanks, Mom. But it's one of those things where it's like, you want viewership to be there. Don't make it so people have to win these or go through these wild and crazy hoops to find where the game is. Most of the games that they had for round one, I had to Google where I could watch it.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to Google it to find it for playoff hockey, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And I do think
it
the
shouldn't
other
be an
big thing
academic
about it, and I
to
don't
watch
think
hockey.
and I don't think Chris is wrong by any means. But I do think the other big thing is that it's fucking May. It's nice out. People aren't home to watch hockey.
Well,
Yeah, especially
And I
if you're
think
East
that
Coast
plays a
watching
big
West
part of
Coast.
it.
Yeah.
like I was gonna get into the one big thing. You know who else is in the playoffs right now? The NBA.
Yeah.
You know what else is going on right now in the month of May? The MLB season. Like,
They're competing with a lot of other sports right now.
yeah. And unfortunately, I don't know if you guys know this, but when it comes to the big four of sports, the NHL's at the bottom of that.
Yeah.
The MLB has more fans. The NBA is the second largest sports organization in the United States. It's the next one behind. I think it has a lot less to do with trying to find the channels and more to do with in pop culture. The NHL is just not there. Yes, they saw a boom during the four nations face-off, absolutely. But at the end of the day,
I don't
the
even think
NHL
it's
is
about that.
I think it has more to do with that personally. I feel like
there's a failure of advertising here and marketing.
That too.
Because you pointed out that NBA is a bigger pop culture reference, right? Why is that? Is it maybe in part because of a man named Michael Jordan and the number of shoes he fucking sold?
Space Jam.
Could be.
Like people, Space Jam was a major thing.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams, Angels in the Outfield.
Yep.
I could go on naming baseball movies. I could go on naming football movies.
Yeah.
Draft Day. Like, how many hockey movies can I name?
Miracle on Ice.
Not that many, because Miracle on Ice,
Mighty
Goons,
Ducks.
Mighty Ducks,
Shoresy.
Goon, Slapshot.
Slapshot.
not even Slapshot. I'm talking about things that, like, if you bring it up, people are like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that movie."
Yeah.
And Goons is probably not even on that list for like a majority of the fucking
I've never
country.
seen it.
Goon is awesome.
It's a great fucking movie.
It's so funny.
Amazing.
I've never seen Slapshot either.
Slapshot's my favorite hockey movie of all time.
We had a
Mystery
renaissance.
Alaska would be the other one, but not everybody has seen that.
We had a renaissance with the Mighty Ducks. That trilogy brought a lot of people into hockey. I'll admit it brought me into hockey too, because fuck yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved seeing it. It was a movie that made me care about a sport. What are our movies now? When was the last hockey movie that people saw in theaters that people bought merch for?
Miracle.
I still have Mighty Ducks fucking merch. Disney Mighty Ducks merch, not team merch. Movie fucking merchandise.
Yeah.
The NHL has a advertising problem. And I think that, Chris, that is the biggest point that you've made that I've agreed with. Because it's an advertising problem. When you have all those other teams going on at the same time, there's no reason why people aren't tuning in other than the other teams, the other organizations advertise better. But you probably had another point too that we've just cut off. So
I mean, it's I mean, if you the first
No,
round of the
and
NBA playoffs has had 3.7 million viewers across ABC, ESPN, and TNT. Which again, if you think about, there are 3 different channels that the NBA playoffs are on, 2 of which are owned by ABC,
Mhm.
and then obviously TNT. And that also affects considering what 2 channels are you seeing the NHL playoffs on? ESPN, TNT. So when you
Mhm.
are not only competing with another professional sports league in its postseason, but you're competing with them on the same fucking networks. If you're not a fan of hockey and it's postseason, you're going to be more inclined to watch the NBA. And I think that's less of an advertising, and I think that's just more of a personal preference on a lot of people. I know a lot of people in my life that would rather watch the NBA over the NHL, because for a lot of people, hockey is better to watch live. To be there in
For
person,
sure.
a lot
That's
of
fair.
people prefer that.
I hate watching hockey
And
on
that's
TV. I hate
super
watching any
fair.
sport on TV, really, but
And that's super fair. I know a lot of people that love baseball, and especially in the
Yeah.
Northeast. You got to think about it. Look at how many teams that your big teams that are normally great in the playoffs, they're not in there right now, are they? So are
Mm.
those fans going to be inclined to watch the NHL playoffs if their teams aren't in it? I know a lot of people
Well,
that wouldn't.
and that's the
That's,
thing
know?
is
that's a good point, too.
NHL has some of the most loyal fans out there.
Mhm.
So a lot of people stop watching when your team doesn't make it.
Yeah.
Because
Which
if
I don't
there's no skin in the game,
understand.
that's the end of it. You know what I
don't
mean?
either.
I like
Only
watching hockey. Like, I will watch my team first, obviously and always my team.
yeah.
But then if my team's not in it, or if my team has already played and it's, Wednesday and we're not playing and I want to watch hockey, I will turn on the whatever is the least hated team playing at the time.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
won't
and
willingly watch a Penguins game unless there's literally nothing else on.
and
Ugh.
unfortunately, we tend to be the minority of the hockey fans, because the Bruins aren't
Yeah.
in it, the Rangers aren't in it. Like your big team, your big national teams that even people who aren't in market do love. Not only did they not make the playoffs, they were at the bottom of the fucking league, and that is
Yeah.
But
absolutely going to affect viewership.
question for you on
That's
that,
true.
Chris. Do that many people love them, or do that many people have pop culture ties to them? The New York Rangers, their shield, that is their logo, is super recognizable from other pop culture media because of how many things shoot in fucking New York.
It's probably
The
Yeah.
Boston Bruins, also similar situation, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, they have recognizable media-based, pop culture-based references
yeah, but I
that
feel
have
like
built a better brand loyalty, or at least a better brand recognition, so that teams are like, "Oh yeah, I know the Bruins. I'll turn on and watch that game."
Yeah.
yeah, but I think
And
that's giving
to your point, the
credit.
teams that don't have that.
I think that's giving too much credit to the teams, in which a lot of the cases it's a pop culture thing because they happen to see like a rapper that they like wear this, or like someone that they follow, like a social media influencer that happen to wear a fucking Sharks hat because it went with their outfit and it's a fashion tie thing. And those people will be like, oh, well, that looks cool, and maybe this and that. And I feel like those are the casual fans that aren't going to give a shit if that team's not in the postseason.
But
And
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
the marketing there is the driving factor,
and I
because those
think
teams have been better marketed for a long time. They're more
yeah,
recognizable. So when those teams don't make it, you're not going to have your people show up. You're not going to have your casual viewers show
and
up,
again
which is what a lot of these numbers ride on.
I think that's an unfair if that is the case, I think it's unfair to kind of go after the league on that, because that's not, again, they're not in the business of making every team this. They're trying to build the league, not the teams, So if
I 100% agree with you,
yeah,
but they could do a better job at marketing the NHL. If these
oh,
teams
they
have been
could.
successfully
Yeah.
marketed, then they can do a better job of marketing the league, not team by team, the league as a whole.
Oh, absolutely, they could. But
And they have gotten a boost from things like Book Talk. So we saw book influencers, there's been a lot more hockey romances that have come out. And so now
Yep.
we're seeing a lot of women that they jokingly call it the boy aquarium. that they call hockey games, because they just go and watch boys behind the glass. And they're not interested in the sport whatsoever. They're just interested in the
funny.
hot men doing the funny warm-ups where they, stretch their
Yeah.
legs and, hump the ice.
Swayman.
I mean,
And
I'll be
so-
honest.
Case for that.
I like it for that reason
Yeah.
too. But
So, but because of that, there was the Seattle Kraken, notably last year, had an issue where they had so many feral, like, romance book readers showing up and harassing one of their players that the player's wife had to come out on social media and was like, you guys don't understand that what you're doing is sexual harassment, and it affects me, and it affects my husband, and it affects our kid. So I need you to back the
that's very
fuck
fair.
off.
Yeah.
And then
No,
the
like it's one thing
NHL
to
stepped
joke
away
about
from
it and kind of enjoy it on your own, and it's another thing to make it a harassment issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the NHL backed off entirely from romance because they didn't know how to handle a sexual assault situation or a sexual harassment situation, which, like, I don't know, feels familiar.
Who's shocked about that? Yeah.
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 So I'm just thinking, like, there's marketing opportunities that the NHL isn't taking advantage of. I think the PWHL has done an incredible job at that. Look at how many partnerships that they've gotten that has boosted their brand awareness. People are watching the PWHL because women are excited about having something that's for them, and there's a whole bunch of stuff there.
And there's a lot. There's for as many women as behind the PWHL, there's a lot of men who are behind it too. Like the crowd is. If you look at a PWHL crowd, it's not a heavy majority of women. It's 50-50. And it's not women who are dragging their husbands to a PWHL game. It's couples who are going
Men in
to
pink
support
beanies.
hockey. Like,
Yeah.
I know as a single man right now, if I had the opportunity to go to a New York Sirens game, you bet your sweet fucking ass I'm going by myself. This is great hockey. Regardless of the gender on the ice, that's great fucking hockey.
Right. Yeah.
And I support hockey. But again, I think a lot of these numbers are due to casual fans. And that's the unfortunate fact of sports.
Right.
That is.
But the question is, how do you get casual fans to tune in to improve those ratings?
Make it easier to watch.
Make it easier to watch.
It's not that
and
hard to
advertise
watch right now. Like the playoffs, the regular season, yes, I will absolutely agree with that. But the playoffs, again, it's the similar situation. It's on two different networks, but like,
no, I agree with you. It is easy to watch if you want to pay $100 a month for cable subscription.
But again, that's not the NHL's problem.
No, I know, but
not,
you can make every regulation game or regular season game easy to watch. But when you go playoffs, Four Nations was easy to watch. Every single game all season long has been incredibly easy to watch, either through ESPN Plus or HBO Max, if you have one of those streaming platforms. But all of a sudden you go playoffs and you need to pay an additional $100, up to $100 to watch a game. That's bullshit.
What are you paying an extra $100 for?
YouTube TV is $80 a month.
Oh, I know. I have YouTube TV.
That's what I'm saying. So I need ESPN plus YouTube TV, or I just need to buy YouTube TV. So then why would I have ESPN Plus?
But again, that's not the league's
I know it's
like,
not their problem, but it kind of is.
But it's not.
But it is if they want to up their viewership
the way they are.
But again,
they have TV deals for that.
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this.
Well, no, so I think, like, you think it's not their problem because you think it's ESPN's problem. That's
not at all what I think.
So then why don't you think it's their problem? Because ESPN and NHL have a contract, and if I can't access, even today when I tried to sign into my ESPN to watch this game, I had a problem logging in. And if I weren't a dedicated hockey fan, after the 15th time that I tried to log in to watch a fucking game, I would have quit.
Bye.
After the third, I would have quit. But because I actually give a shit and it's the Caps and it's me, I did it. But they made it incredibly difficult for me. So the NHL, it is an NHL problem because if this is the feedback they're getting from viewers, then they need to address something in their contract to fix it. Because they have a contract with ESPN to air these games. So I don't know where I'm genuinely curious where you think it's not an NHL problem.
No, I said it's not their problem that people can't afford it because they're not the ones in charge of the price. What they are doing is they are signing contracts with these cable companies to broadcast their stuff, and they're only worried about getting it onto that. They're not worried about the people being able to afford it because that's not in their hands. What is in their hands is where it's broadcasted. Like,
and making it accessible by not putting it behind a paywall on ESPN Plus, which is a paid service.
that's ESPN. That's on
which
ESPN.
They have the
that.
contract. Like in
Yeah,
Canada,
it's still a contract
they have a
issue.
$7.7 billion deal to make the games watchable. That's where you make your money. Not fucking over the fans who are casual, who now are not going to go out of their way to watch something that now becomes harder than your fifth grader's math problem to figure out.
I think
shouldn't
you guys
have to jump through
thinking,
4 hoops to watch a frigging game.
I think you guys are thinking that they have more like into with the contracts. Like, those contracts are vague for a reason. Like, if you go in to,
then
let's
they need
say,
to make better contracts.
Yeah, but you're not going to sell the product that way if you have a very specific set. That's not
They're
how
not
the
selling
TV
it right now.
industry works.
They're losing viewers.
It's just saying, as someone who went to school for all this stuff and sees how these things have worked in the past, if they had put in there the way that if they had put like a specific set of criterias on how that they needed to broadcast this, ESPN would have told them to go fuck themselves. TNT would have told them to go fuck themselves, because
they had no problem during 4 Nations, and that was kind of on the fly. Instead of doing one All-Star game, they did all these other games.
But it all was attached to the media rights deal. The NHL cannot tell ESPN how to broadcast, because ESPN wouldn't not sign that contract, because what they're paying for is the rights to that product. That product, they then can do what they please with that product. If the NHL wanted to, that's just how the TV industry works.
So then if it's such a big deal and they're having all this negative feedback and they're losing viewership and stuff like that, do what everyone else and their mother does. Create the NHL network. I'll pay $10 a month and I'll watch all my games there.
They already have the NHL network. The problem is that they need to shop other retailers.
Yeah.
If ESPN is not going to give them the viewership that they need to become successful, they need to shop ABC. They need to shop CBS. They need to shop Fox.
ABC is ESPN.
They need to shop. Well, but it's not ABC. ABC and ESPN are two different things.
They're not.
In terms of a viewer. No.
Channel.
Hold on. Let me explain myself. For a viewer, I as a viewer do not know that ABC and ESPN are the same company. I know ABC. I go to channel 7. I know ESPN. I don't know that number because I don't fucking go
something
there.
Or whatever.
But I know ABC. I know that number. Actually, I go to 507 because 500 is the HD channel.
The HD.
Yeah.
So I go to 507 anytime I want to watch ABC. If you are putting your shit on ESPN, you are not putting it on ABC for a viewer. And that level of known or notoriety, I guess, really, is something that's helpful to get more casual viewers in. Because if I'm flicking through the channels, what's on ABC tonight? It's 7:30 and I need to watch something before bed. I'm going to go to ABC first before I go to ESPN.
Yeah.
As a casual viewer.
I think you guys are saying that I'm just saying you're all wrong, and I'm not. What I'm saying is this is just how it works. And unfortunately, the only way that changes is if they launch their own complete streaming service and just stream NHL games from a specific streaming service. But they're not going to do that. It's not going to happen.
Well,
because they will not put that money for it to make that happen, because you cannot put that sort of control language into a contract with a media company and that media company accepting it. It's just not going to happen. Unfortunately,
but I don't think
that's just the world TV is.
I don't think that's true. We're saying that there is another option here. They don't have to go through ESPN.
Sure there probably is another option, but this is the contract that they signed for a good amount of time. This contract's going to last until, I believe, 2035.
The question is, why does viewership suck? And that's the answer. And so then the remedy is that ESPN needs, or the NHL needs to find a new fucking provider.
Even if it is 2035.
Well, but let's look at the OV chase, right? How many of the Washington Capitals games this year at the end of the season got reassigned to national broadcast rights?
I would say probably all of them.
Almost all of them were reassigned. And that was a contract that was not in place that the NHL adjusted because they wanted because ESPN and TNT were so hungry to get a piece of the interest that was people following the Great Chase that they paid the NHL more money to take away those streaming rights from the local providers.
Right.
So if they can change that mid-season, once the TV schedule has been set, it's been set that way for months. We had advertisements all lined up on Monumental Sports Network for people that were going to, promote whatever during the Great Chase. If they can change that with less than a week's notice, then there is something that they can do to address viewership.
But what's the main
There
thing
just is.
that you said? Is they paid them more money to get those games.
Yeah.
ESPN's not going to pay them more money for more games for the playoffs. They're like that's it. I see what you're saying and I understand what you're saying. It's just I don't think these numbers are going to be enough to change the NHL or their viewership.
I think a 27% decrease in the year that has people joining hockey the most should be alarming.
And
if I were GBet's dollar sign, I would be like, why the fuck is our viewership down 27% when we had an incredible boom not even 3 months ago in February? Where did we lose people? And that's when you got to get into market research and analysis. And then I think they're going to find some unhappy truths.
So I did find something that says that one of the reasons they do it is because of something called overlap protection. And it says if a playoff game is available on a national or local network in your area, ESPN will typically block the live stream to avoid competing with broadcasters who hold those rights. I get that. And I completely respect that. We're all used to blackouts at this point, right? And we all know our ways to work around blackouts. Black out the games. You know what I mean? Black out the games for the areas so they have to figure it out like they always do. I support that because, again, we do blackouts all season long. Don't penalize the people who aren't in the market.
Expensive. If they were to pay that, if they were to pay the overlap money, they would lose money for the year because the local broadcasting networks pay
right?
out the ass.
And that makes so much sense.
Or charge out
but
the ass,
don't
rather.
penalize the fans that are out of market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I live in Maine, if I want to watch Florida play Florida, who cares? Let me watch it. You know? But no, I had to crawl on my hands and knees to my mother to get access to watch it.
I don't know,
I think
man.
it was a great conversation. I think we're all on the same side here of the NHL
something has to
a
change,
problem and something has to
what
change.
It is.
Yeah.
Fuckers, change your shit.
Be better.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite questions of the week because we really got into it. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Hey man, we love good
again,
conversation.
we weren't saying that Chris was wrong in his stance, just like Chris wasn't saying that we were wrong in our stance. For those keyboard warriors out there that think that we hurt each other's feelings.
Yeah.
We have all been friends for a very long time by now.
Yeah.
We're okay. But I think we all can agree something's got to change because even, whether it's regular season or postseason, something here needs to give because it's not accessible to everybody. Don't even get me started. Like, I'm a part of many Minnesota Wild, Facebook groups. I'm an admin in one in particular, and we have fans, again, they're Wild fans because they're from Sweden or Norway or Finland, and we have their players in our team.
You've kidnapped them.
But I can't even imagine what it's like for them to try to watch these games.
Oh, yeah.
So the NHL is just not fully accessible, and that's the biggest issue with viewership, I think.
Yeah, see, the funny thing is, and this again speaks to the time of the year, if the NBA has any sort of drop in viewership, it's covered by everyone.
Yeah.
Even if it's 2%, oh, well, it's because this and that. It's because this and that. The NBA needs to do this, and the NBA needs to do that. And like, it's like the best way I can equate it to is NASCAR. Okay, so if there's any sort of drop in viewership in a NASCAR race because of like if it's different than last year for whatever fucking reason, fans are so quick to, oh, well, this needs to happen. This needs to happen. This needs to happen. This is crazy. Oh, everything in the world's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the NHL, it's you're not going to hear media rights numbers anywhere because the NHL doesn't promote their media numbers, their ratings numbers. It's the broadcasts on ESPN, on Turner Networks, on like those like their only focus is on the game itself. So it's not going to change the broadcast. Where in the NBA, mid fucking intermission, you're at halftime reports, you're going to have the analysts, you're going to have Shaq, you're going to have Charles Barkley, they're going to be talking on that. And it's like what that does is that takes away from the actual game itself in the NBA. And it just totally changes the entire mood of the whole event. And I think that's one good thing the NHL doesn't do is they don't disrupt the focus from their game by just clouding everything with numbers and numbers, because everyone harps on numbers, and that's a very true thing. And I'm not saying that we should ignore the numbers, because you shouldn't. 27% down is a large drop, and that could be so many variables of things, but I think the smart thing is to allow the play to continue to happen as opposed to having your media jumping all over it. Like for all the popularity and pop culture and everything that the NBA has, don't copy the NBA because they're doing a lot of things wrong. You know who the league is run by? The players, not the organizations, the players. And you know what that has done? Go look at LeBron James holding the Lakers hostage until they fucking drafted his son, who was not ready to play in the NBA. He's like, oh, if you don't draft my son, I'm not going to fucking play. That's the bullshit you deal with in the NBA. You don't deal with that in the NHL. You don't. The league is run by the people, the organizations. Are they the best people in charge? No. But at least there is some semblance of hierarchy, where in the NBA, it's just fucking chaos. The NFL is getting to that point too. Like, it's just, for, yes, all of the popularity that those leagues have, there are multiple things in common that make those leagues drastically worse than those leagues like the MLB, who is on the lower end of the spectrum now, the NHL, who's on the lower end of the spectrum, Major League Soccer, which is, I guess, which now pulls enough numbers to be considered among the top 4 leagues in top 4 sports in the United States. So while, yes, it is a very concerning number, don't copy what they're fucking doing. That if there's one takeaway, don't copy the shit that they do.
Yeah.
Because the NBA
I don't think that I
you know,
don't think any of us think that analysts should ever be like, viewership right now is at 776,000 people. That's crazy. That's never a good thing. But the NHL marketing and advertising team needs to be taking a look at that, because when viewership numbers go down like that, and they've been falling across the board, we've talked about it every year that this podcast has been in operation, that the numbers for the Winter Classic or the Stadium Series or the Outdoor Series or whatever, they're down every year. Year over year, they shrink by 12%, by 17%. They shrink every year. And so eventually you get to a point where we won't be in the top 4 leagues if our numbers continue to be that shitty. So they need to investigate it. We don't need to, I mean, we can talk about it because we are, we're a bunch of people with bullshit opinions who talk on the internet for way too fucking long.
Right.
We can talk about it because it impacts like our community. If there's not a fan base, if there's not support, then you don't see what we see with the increase, right? To the players' contracts, which allows us to get more talent in, which allows us to play people better. So there is some trade-off where it does have to be discussed, just not on air. It shouldn't be the focus for fans, but I don't count us as just fans because we run a fucking media empire.
Well, I will leave you guys with this.
We're gonna take the world over.
Yeah.
New York, Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia. What do all four of those have in common? Those cities in themselves.
Consistently,
I was gonna say terrible coaches.
consistent
Like,
championships.
The city in themselves, from a TV analytics standpoint, are your four of your 5 biggest sports markets in the entire country. The only one that's missing out is LA.
Yeah.
You know what else they have in common? No team from those cities made the playoffs. And that absolutely is a factor. Absolutely is a factor.
Not wrong.
That's a great point.
Those fans are opting to be outside in the nice weather by now.
Yeah, because they don't have a stake in the game now. They don't get
or they've moved on to the next sport.
Yeah.
Their team is out on the links, and so are they.
Because if you look at New York, well, the Yankees are having a great season. The Mets are having a great season. Baseball's in full swing. Look at Boston. The Red Sox are having a good season. The Celtics are in the playoffs. The Eagles just won a Super Bowl. The Phillies are having a decent season. The Phillies just came off a great season. Like, you're looking at all these sports towns that are like, well, our teams aren't there. So, we're on to the next thing. So I will say that if I have a closing point, I will say that is absolutely a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's jump into, I don't think we have any new fines or suspensions. So
no,
let's jump
no
into
new
injuries.
fines or suspensions, just injuries. Nobody new for Carolina. For Dallas, we still have Miro Heiskanen with his knee injury on IR, expected now to be out until at least May 7th. Jason Robertson with his knee injury is listed as day-to-day, as I mentioned earlier. There are reports that he could be ready to go for game 1, which I don't think for them is tonight. No, it is tonight. I lied. They play at 9:30 Eastern. So we'll wait to see. For him, for Edmonton, we still have Matthias Ekholm, undisclosed, expected now to be out until May 20th. So maybe he'll be back in round 2. Maybe he won't. He might be done. We don't know. I also, just because I'm a nerd and y'all, fuck it, I have the floor. So, prayers out with Joel Eriksson Ek. He not only played through a broken nose that he sustained in game 2, but is having core muscle surgery on his abdomen in the off season. Should be ready to go by the beginning of the season, but anything with the abdomen is a rough surgery to go through.
Hockey players are built different, man.
Yeah. And then going on, so much harder now that I have to scroll through so many teams.
I know, we're down to 8 now.
So much different. Yeah. Well, and there's so many like big gaps.
Yeah.
Toronto, we still have Anthony Stellaris, upper body listed as day-to-day, and Yanni Hakanpää with his knee injury on IR, now out for the rest of this season, which we kind of had that idea. For Las Vegas, we have Pavel Dorofeyev,
yeah.
undisclosed, expected to be out until at least May 8th. For Washington, we have Martin Fehervary, closest I'm going to get, with his knee injury, expected to be out until at least September 15th. That one's not even that new. Sorry, I didn't see the updated date. Otherwise, still the 3 that have been here all season, which is sad. We want those 3 back. And lastly, Winnipeg's Logan Stanley, undisclosed, listed as day-to-day. Mark Sheffield, upper body, listed as day-to-day. And Josh Morrissey, upper body, listed as day-to-day. And that's it.
That's so simple.
It's crazy when like half, we
everybody's out.
Drop half the teams. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well then, should we head to everybody's favorite segment of the week? I think we shall. Yes. Hey, Chris, what do you think about taking us through the obscure NHL player of the week?
Where is it? Hold on. My computer is doing a thing.
God, you weren't prepped.
It's PC right there.
We have seen tonight that my computer has essentially told me to go fuck myself. There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
The
So
duck quack
Perfect.
is the best part of that.
it's, I mean, Maul has made it a thing now, so it has to be a thing.
That's how all of our things are birthed. It just
Pretty
becomes a thing
much.
one day.
Yes, usually that's how it goes. So our obscure NHL player of the week this week is a player by the name of Ryan Bonney. He was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. This left-handed defenseman was drafted 34th overall in the 1997 NHL draft by a one Vancouver Canucks, in which he only played 3 games in his entire NHL career. In 1999-2000, he played 3 games with the Canucks. 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 penalty minutes, in which he was never seen in the league again. But he did play 218 games in the AHL, as well as stints across several different countries. 218 games in the AHL, 7 goals, 29 assists, 372 penalty minutes. He tended to, in other leagues, rack up a lot of numbers in the box. In the IHL, he had a season where he had 127 penalty minutes. ECHL, 128 penalty minutes. He played over in the Danish league in Denmark in 40 games, 141 penalty minutes. So he was a menace just overseas.
Amazing.
My favorite kind of menace.
Yeah, right.
So following his playing career, he coached the River East Royal Knights of the MMJHL for 6 years, and as of 2016, is an assistant coach for the University of Manitoba Bisons. He played all the way up until 2009, 2010, where he played in the Italian Hockey League for 26 games with SG Potema. 2 goals, 11 assists, 40 penalty minutes.
Wow.
And yes,
Right.
that is
40 penalty minutes in 2 games? Is that what you said?
no 40 penalty
many
minutes in
games?
26 games.
Oh, okay.
Jeez, could you
Sorry, I
imagine
just
that?
heard
Like,
the 2 and I was
damn.
like,
That
holy
would be-
shit, that's like a
Bro,
third
How
of
is that
the
not
game.
multiple game misconducts?
Can you get
No
like
wonder.
black carded in hockey now?
I'm
Yeah, no
sorry.
wonder
Yeah.
he had to retire. Fuck.
Right.
Just
I mean, look,
completely
even-
misheard that. My brain
Even
went,
looking
wait,
at his
what?
CHL numbers with the Saskatoon Blades, 96, 97, 219 penalty
Saskatoon.
minutes. 98, 99,
Ugh.
211 penalty minutes. It's 51 games. Like, bro,
Calm
what
down.
the fuck were you doing?
Damn.
But I mean, shout out
Right.
to him for being drafted 2nd round. Like, and again,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
when
great.
I always talk about never guarantee a top draft pick because of what happens. He is a good example of a player who was taken 2nd round. There's a lot of expectation that surrounds 2nd round picks, 1st to 3rd round picks. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it didn't pan out for him. It happens.
I would even say 1st to 5th round picks.
Yeah,
A lot of
that's fair.
expectation there.
Um,
But yeah, they don't all work out.
Right.
No, unfortunately not. He played for a
I'm
team
sure they
in
hate
Germany
it too.
called the Landshut Cannibals.
Great name.
Nice name.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
that
hockey.
was-
Very for
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
pretty epic. Team called the Columbia Inferno.
Okay.
Oh, the Inferno's a great hockey name.
That's a great name. What's their
Although
logo
they're
look
hard
like?
again, like I always look for like how can you cheer for them?
Yeah.
Let's
Very
go
carefully.
Let's go Inferno. Yeah, that would work.
Infern go.
I hate it here.
Anywho.
You're welcome.
But yeah, no,
Well,
They're
thank
shout
one of
out
my favorite
to-
people in the world, but I hate it here sometimes.
shout out to the good old Ryan Bonney for being our obscure NHL Player of the Week.
Well, thank you
Put on my
very
radio
much,
voice.
Chris, for that educational. God damn it, Maul.
Yep.
For
I
that
didn't look at
educational
that.
segment.
That
With
was
me.
danger.
Oh, I couldn't see it. I just assumed it was Maul because it was the
Yep.
duck sound. You're getting blamed,
Euroduck.
Maul. Sorry. We love that segment every week. If you guys have not yet put in your round 2 predictions or your round 1 failures, then put in a question for us to answer on the podcast next week. We will be sure to get to it. You can put it in the comments. You can send it to us in email. You can write it in TikTok. You can write it in fucking, I don't know, anywhere that you are able to write and you think we'll see it. If you are in the bathroom at George's Pizza Shop, hey, maybe we'll come by one day. You
Save us a
don't
fucking
know.
slice. You know what? You can even get
Buy
creative.
us a fucking slice.
You can hire a plane to write that shit in the sky. Do
It
that.
was literally, well, no, I was thinking the way that I want it is
A banner?
like the streamer behind an
Yeah.
airplane. So it's so funny that you said that. That was exactly what I was just thinking about as she was talking.
Why
On the
not?
same wavelength.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
We're sharing
One
the
brain
brain cell
cell.
today. Yeah, we're sharing that today. That's
Yeah.
ours.
If you have not, please be sure to give us a like on wherever you're watching this and also subscribe to us. It's the best way to get notified anytime we make a new post. And that way you can be kept up with all of our shenanigans, all of our hot takes, all of our good takes, bad takes, square takes, round takes, any
Bloopers.
takes.
You know,
Yep, all
if
of them.
we shenan once, you can bet we'll shenan
The
again.
shenanigan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining us this week. We will see you mother puckers in the face-off circle next week.